You're not going to believe what just came out, guys. President Donald Trump just dropped a bombshell. It could literally shake the entire foundation of Joe Biden's presidency. And this is already sparking panic inside the White House. In fact, Trump is now saying that official orders signed during Biden's presidency may be totally illegal. This is because they weren't even signed by Biden himself. They were signed with, get this, guys, an autopen. Now, if this sounds small, if this sounds familiar, you're kind of missing the point here. Trump is not just talking about a signature here. He's talking about a possible fraud against the American people. So who was really in charge? Like, who ran the autopen? And what were they hiding? And of course, it gets worse, a whole lot worse, guys. As the scandal explodes, millions of small business owners are learning that the same government that told them to apply for pandemic relief, well, they're quietly giving the IRS new powers to come after them, up to 9 years. That's not justice, guys. This is complete betrayal. Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary, he blew the whistle on this whole thing. He read the fine print that nobody else did. Apparently, Congress is just passing bills and whatnot, not reading it. And what he found is going to cripple Main Street if it's not stopped. And he's calling it a war on small business. And he's not wrong. I mean, we're talking about thousands of innocent Americans being targeted here, guys, just for following the rules. And guess who helped cover it all up? CNN's Jake Tapper, who's now pretending that he didn't even know Joe Biden was slipping the whole time. Then you got Megyn Kelly. She confronted him face to face, guys. And Megyn Kelly, basically, during this face-to-face confrontation, what he admitted on camera is absolutely shocking. So what's the truth behind these signatures, right? Like, who was behind the IRS crackdown? And why is the media only telling you half the story? Well, today, I'm going to go ahead and break down everything, everywhere from Trump's accusations of illegal executive orders to the buried IRS time bomb inside of Trump's big, beautiful bill, to the media's role in covering for Biden's decline and deceiving the American public. And by the end of this video, I think you're going to understand exactly why this wasn't just another scandal. This is a roadmap of how the elite stay in power while the rest of us end up paying the price. So let's get into it. If you appreciate the updates, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, guys. All right, let's start with the moment that stunned everyone. Trump just came out and he said what the media refused to touch, that during President Biden's or former President Biden's presidency, official executive orders were signed illegally, not by Joe Biden himself, but with an autopen. Trump called it totally illegal, and he's not backing down. These weren't birthday cards or some generic forms. We're not talking about the laws of some like HOA community. We're talking about the laws of the land, guys. The most powerful documents on earth signed by a machine. Unbelievable. And this is not just a technicality. Trump's raising the alarm that every single executive order signed with this autopen, especially while Biden was clearly unwell, it should be considered null and void. Comment the word void down below if you agree with Trump on that one. And so now here's where it gets really alarming. Trump didn't just accuse Biden of using the autopen. He asked the question that every American should be asking right now. Who was actually running the country? Because it sure as hell wasn't Joe Biden. And we've seen all the signs. Biden losing his train of thought, forgetting people who just passed away, wandering off the White House lawn. This guy he was gone. Then, just 100 days into his second term, Biden's team suddenly announces that he has metastatic bone cancer. So let me get this straight here. The White House knew the president was in terminal decline, but instead of stepping aside or informing the public, they used a machine to keep pushing orders through and pretending everything was fine. That's not leadership, guys. That's deception. And this is possibly criminal. And folks, this is just the beginning, because as Trump was sounding the alarm, somebody else was doing some digging of their own. And what they found, hiding in the fine print of President Trump's so-called big, beautiful bill, it's about to hit millions of innocent Americans like a ton of bricks. So, of course, we need to talk about Kevin O'Leary and how he basically blew the lid off this hidden clause that's going to give the IRS some shocking new powers to hunt down small business owners for taking pandemic relief that they were told to apply for. He's basically calling this a war on the middle class. And wait until you hear what he found. Don't go anywhere, guys, because if you're a business owner, if you're an employee, or just someone who ever paid taxes, you need to know what's about to come down the pipeline. So hit the like button, share this video, and just trust me, it's about to get even uglier. Now, it's one thing to hear a sales pitch. It's a completely different thing to see real people experiencing real things. Now, take Leslie Taylor, for example. She just saved $1,000 a year. Sharon Bertusik, she lost her Medicaid coverage, but Chapter got her onto a Medicare plan with zero premium, zero medication costs, and dropped her copay from $89 just to $20. These are not hypotheticals, guys. These are real people, literally from the YouTube comments of my previous video. They picked up the phone, they called Chapter, and they found out what they had been missing. And you don't have to do this alone, and you shouldn't do this alone. So give our friends over at Chapter a call and see how much money you could save on your Medicare. You can hit them up at askchapter.org/Ron, or you can call them on the phone at 909-563-8279. So let me know how much you can save. So I think it's pretty clear, guys. Now we know the autopen wasn't just a shortcut. This was the bandage over a cover-up that was spiraling out of control. Because while Biden's team insisted that he was fit to lead, in reality, this was a completely different story. And then it happened, just 100 days into Biden's, exit, the White House finally admits the truth. Joe Biden has terminal bone cancer. Not just a diagnosis, but full-on metastatic advanced stage cancer. And they basically chose to reveal that on the exact same day that Jake Tapper released his new book about Biden's health problems. So let me ask you something. How long did they know this? You really think Biden's health team, his wife, Jill Biden, his advisors, they all just found out that morning too? Or were they lying for months, maybe even years about Biden's health condition? And then, of course, there's Jake Tapper, right? The so-called journalist who sat right across from Biden face to face and asked nothing about the slurring, the memory loss, the memory fog. Megyn Kelly brought the receipts and confronted Jake Tapper on air. And guess what Jake Tapper admitted? He said, hey, look, I didn't press Biden on any of it. I wish I had. I have humility about my coverage. Humility? You don't get to admit that now. After the election, after all these bills were signed, after the country was misled, that's not humility. That's complicity. And the question that is now echoing through the country right now is this. If Biden wasn't making the decisions, well, who was making these decisions? Because while he was losing his grip, somebody else was gripping power with both hands, right? But that's not the only betrayal unfolding, because while the media covered for Biden's decline, the IRS was getting a secret new weapon aimed straight at innocent Americans who did nothing wrong. And the worst part, it was buried inside of Trump's own bill. And so, a lot of people are asking, well, who wrote this bill? Because at the end of the day, Trump has to sign off. Regardless, if the Senate and the House approve this thing, Trump still has to sign it. Will he veto this bill if he sees this extra power being given to the IRS? A lot of people believe so. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think Trump is going to veto this bill if he sees that the IRS is going to be provided with additional powers to use against innocent Americans? Let me know what you think, guys. So Kevin O'Leary discovered this line item in here, and what he revealed next, this should literally outrage every single taxpayer in this country. And if you haven't already hit the like button, go ahead and do it now, guys, because what I'm about to share with you guys, what Kevin O'Leary just uncovered affects millions of families across the country. So stick with me, guys. You do not want to miss this. So let's talk about what might be the most underreported threat in the entire scandal here. Because while Trump was blowing the whistle on Biden's fake signatures, Kevin O'Leary, yes, Shark Tank investor Kevin O'Leary just dropped his own bombshell. And what he found hiding inside of Trump's big, beautiful bill, it's a ticking time bomb for millions of small business owners. Kevin O'Leary, he says he read the entire bill, something most lawmakers never do. And he found a shocking clause that gives the IRS the power to audit small businesses for up to 9 years if they took pandemic relief through the Employee Retention Credit, also known as the ERC. Guys, let me make this crystal clear. These are businesses that follow the rules. They took government aid to survive COVID lockdowns and they kept people employed. And now, years later, they're being treated like criminals. This isn't a fraud probe. This is a weaponized audit campaign buried deep into a bill that was just sold to the public as pro-growth, pro-America. And Kevin O'Leary, he said it's totally unfair. And he went so far as to say that it's un-American. And honestly, he's not wrong. These are not billionaires. These are mom and pop shops. These are family run stores, people who held the economy together when everything else was collapsing. And now they're facing nearly a decade of uncertainty, because the IRS has been quietly given expanded powers to go after them. So Kevin O'Leary said every small business in his portfolio started calling him up, asking him the same thing. Where did this come from? Why are they punishing us now? And most importantly, who is going to stop this thing? And it gets even worse because these businesses, the same ones now being targeted, they're the very same people that the government once claimed to support. So why are these small businesses under attack right now? And what does this mean for the average American who just played by the rules? Well, you're about to find out. Guys, tap the like button, share this video with every business owner that you know, because we cannot let this happen. So I need to share with you guys exactly how the IRS isn't just targeting companies. They're targeting you and millions of others who trusted the government. So stick with me, guys, because this is just ridiculous. So I want to zoom out for a second because the IRS expansion, it's not just about business owners anymore. It's about you, the everyday taxpayer, the employee, the W-2 earner, the 1099 freelancer. That's right. The person who did exactly what the government told them to do and now finds themselves in the crosshairs. So during the COVID pandemic, the government said, hey, look, apply for relief, save your business, keep your workers. And millions of Americans listened. They took the PPP, they filed for the ERC, they played by the rules, and now they're being hunted like criminals. Kevin O'Leary said it best. Of course we took the ERC. We had to survive. And now they're punishing us for it. And let's be real. This isn't just oversight. This is intentional. You see, the fraudsters are already long gone. But instead of targeting fraud, the IRS is targeting the people who filed clean, honest paperwork because they're easy to find. Their names are in the system. Their documents are on file. And now the IRS has 9 years to dig into your life and demand their pound of flesh. Guys, this ain't tax enforcement. This is retaliation. This is a message from the permanent bureaucracy. Thanks for doing what we told you to do. Now bend over, grab your ankles, and pay for it. And look at the contrast. Trump's DOJ is out investigating fraud, corruption, real crime. Meanwhile, under the previous leadership, the IRS has been unleashed on compliant Americans, not the cheaters, the honest ones. I mean, you just couldn't script a more twisted version of justice if you tried. But here's a question that no one in corporate media is going to ask. How did all this get buried in there? How did we get fake signatures, autopen, executive orders, secret IRS clauses, and no headlines to warn us? Well, the media was not asleep. They were in on it. And you're about to see exactly how. So it involves Jake Tapper, Megyn Kelly, Laura Trump, and a stunning admission on live TV that proves the media helped to hide the truth. So how did all this happen, right? The fake signatures, the IRS ambush, the terminal cancer diagnosis without the public knowing a thing? Well, simple. It's because the media was in on it. And now we have the proof. Jake Tapper, CNN's front man, the guy who sat across from President Biden multiple times while Biden was clearly declining, and he asked nothing. No follow-up on the slurred speech, no tough questions about getting lost on stage, no mention of Joe Biden's literally asking where a dead congressman, where a dead congresswoman was moments after a tribute video for her played. So now he said he wishes that he had covered it more. Too late, Jake. The damage is done. You didn't press Joe Biden when it mattered, and now you're cashing in by selling a book about the very thing you helped to cover up. So Megyn Kelly, she didn't hold back. She never does. She called him out to his face. So you mocked Laura Trump when she said Biden was in decline, but now you're writing a book saying she was right. You didn't want to hear it then because it wasn't. You didn't want to hear it then because it was politically inconvenient. And Jake Tapper, all he said was, "Yeah, you're right. I was wrong. She was right." See, this guy, he's just out here trying to collect a check. Let that sink in, guys. The same media news outlets that mocked, silenced, and ridiculed everyone and anyone who questioned Joe Biden's fitness, they're now trying to act like they're the heroes for uncovering it. I mean, it's the greatest gaslight in modern political history. And believe it or not, it gets worse. So while Jake Tapper was defending Biden, while CNN was distracting you with Trump scandals, lies, and culture war fluff, you got Congress quietly shoving IRS landmines into Trump's bill, a bill that most lawmakers didn't even read. And the press, they ain't say anything. Kevin O'Leary, he said it himself. He read through the bill through the eyes of a small business, and what he found was terrifying. But CNN didn't bother. MSNBC didn't care. And now millions of Americans are they're in the line of fire, and they don't even know it yet. But Donald Trump, he saw this coming. And in his own words, this isn't just corruption. This is treasonous. This is not just about Joe Biden. This is about Jake Tapper. This is also about the future of the country. And of course, I need to share with you guys President Trump's final warning. And what happens if America doesn't listen? Now, if you're still watching, hopefully you are. You're clearly the kind of person who wants truth, not some BS spin. So please hit the like button, comment "I'm awake now" down below. Stick with me, guys, because what Trump said next is going to send chills down your spine. Now, we talked about the autopen. We talked about the IRS audits, the media cover-ups, the lies, the silence, the betrayal. But now we need to talk about Trump's final warning, because he's not just exposing corruption. He's saying the quiet part out loud. We are dangerously close to losing this country. Trump said this very plainly. Our country was being run by people who weren't even elected. Orders were being signed illegally. We've proven that. And the question remains, who ran the autopen? That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a challenge to the very legitimacy of Biden's presidency, not to mention all those pardons he issued, or maybe he didn't issue them, Because if Biden wasn't mentally fit, if his signature was forged by a machine, if the media knew and said nothing, and if the government punished its own citizens while protecting the elite, then we're no longer living under a system of representative democracy. We're living under a system of managed deception. So Trump calls this a lawless administration, one that punishes honesty, rewards loyalty to the machine, and silences dissent by labeling it dangerous misinformation. But here's what they fear the most, guys, that you are starting to wake up. Because once the American people see the truth, that the orders were fake, that the signatures were illegal, that the IRS is targeting the innocent, and that the media is nothing more than a PR firm for power, the game is over. Trump's not just fighting for a policy win. He's fighting for a return to something that we haven't had in years, a government that works for the people, not against them. And whether you love him or you hate him, there's no denying this. He's the only one that's saying it out loud. And that's why they're trying so hard to silence this man. So what do? Well, number one, we stay alert, we speak up, we support each other. And most importantly, we don't stay silent anymore. Share this video, drop a comment if you've ever felt like this system is not working for you, and make sure to subscribe to the channel because we're not done exposing them yet. This is bigger than one bill. This is bigger than one presidency. This is about taking America back one truth at a time. All right. So I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Give our friends a chapter call, see how much Medicare savings you can get, and we'll see you on the next one. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below.